Hey there everybody, Mazrock here, and today we've got some pretty big news for 10.1.5 for tanks. We're going to be going through all of it and covering Brewmaster in particular. Before we do get into it though, please do like, comment, subscribe. It goes such a long way towards helping out the channel. There's a Patreon link down below. I have early access videos out already, and I've got like a slate of videos that I've been scheduling on YouTube, and now they're going to be pushed back a day because this came out, and this is going out now, and this is going to be my Wednesday video. So if you're looking for anything exclusive content, early access content, that's the place to do it. There is a Twitch link down below as well. Come watch me stream. This broke live on stream, so a lot of my reactions were on stream for this as well. If that's something that interests you, there's a Discord link. Come on by, talk changes. And of course, we do have merchandise as well. Bear, I'm a tank 2, Blood Decay. I'm the healer now, and I am working on some more merch as well. I would, if you have any ideas for Brewmaster, Warrior, things like that, it's something that make a really funny shirt. I'm kind of interested in hearing about it, but let's talk changes. So the big one here, I'm not going to go ahead and read all of this. Primordial Stones Onyx Amulets, the Onyx Amulet is getting nerfed, particularly the ones that deal damage, which this is a tank channel for the most part, so something you're going to need to know, which is your Onyx Amulet is going to be 40% less effective in any content in 10.1.5, which is a great change. It's something that I have been wanting and saying that needs to happen because it feels bad getting a ring and hero and you're like, this could be 441, this could be a little bit higher, I could get some more secondaries, but the Onyx Amulet is just so freaking good. But they are buffing tanks to compensate. So lots of good stuff here. So we were going to discuss, so let's look into it. Blood Decay is getting the ghoul summoned by Raised Dead is going to have a health increase. Not really relevant. Death Coil healing increased by 75%. Cool. All damage and ability increased by 8% for Blood Decay. Awesome. Love to see it. Vengeance Demon Hunter is getting an aura buff of 4% to compensate for the Onyx Amulet nerf, which honestly is fine. I'm okay with that. A-okay. Let's go. Vengeance Demon Hunter is kind of like doing stupid amounts of damage right now, so 4% kind of makes sense. It'll probably make them a little bit more in line. Guardian Druid is getting an aura buff of 6% to compensate for this. Really, really cool. Like it a lot. Awesome stuff. Like I said, we're going to cover Brewmaster here in a bit, but we're just going to skip down to the rest of them. Protection Paladin is getting an aura buff of 4% to compensate for the Onyx Annulet nerf. Word of Glory is now going to cost 3 holy power and 10% of your base mana, so 25,000 mana in 10.1.5, and your mana regeneration is reduced by from 150% to 100%. So what that means for Word of Glory is you are no longer going to be able to spam it as much as possible, because you are eventually going to run out of mana. It's not solely based on your holy power anymore. You do have mana to worry about with this ability, and this is to kind of reduce the effectiveness of off-healing crazy things that are going on. We've all heard the no healer runs, things like that. Word of Glory and its potency is definitely a large factor in that. So this is meant to kind of quell those sorts of things for pretty much anyone, like, you know, the average person running their keys. This isn't going to have a massive impact, but if you are really hard on the Word of Glories, you may find yourself running out of mana to be able to cast those. So that's something that you might have to look out for, but not a huge change, but something you should be aware of. And then we go down to Warrior, so all ability damage increase by 6% to compensate for Onyx Amulet. All right, now Brewmaster. Brewmaster's getting a lot more. So Brewmaster is getting an aura buff of 7% to compensate for this. Very nice. Rising Sun Kick and Blackout Kick damage is being increased by 20% as well. Sweet deal. Tiger Palm and Invoke Nozao, the Black Ox, damage is increased by 50%. Cool. But Brewmaster's getting a new talent. Press the Advantage. Your auto attacks reduce the cooldown of your brews by 0.5 seconds and blocks your target's chi, dealing additional nature damage and causing them to take 1% increased damage from your abilities for 10 seconds. Upon reaching 10 stacks, your next cast of Rising Sun Kick or Keg Smash consumes all stacks to strike again at 100 100% effectiveness. This bonus attack can trigger the effects on behalf of Tiger Palm. It replaces Tiger Palm. Really, really nice. That's really big. And bonus attacks from Press the Advantage trigger Chi Surge when talented and have a chance to summon this out of the Black Ox when Call to Arms is talented. So we are going to go over to the spec tree here. We're gonna go over to the PTR. Give me a second here. So let's take a look at the talents for Brewmaster here. Now, there is some swaps in the PTR that are very interesting to talk about, but first we're going to talk about Press the Advantage. So this does replace Tiger Palm, and it's in the slot of Weapons of Order. So we now have a choice. Press the Advantage or Weapons of Order. I have hit some test dummies with this. Unfortunately, my details is not working 100% properly, and it's not tracked. Like, it doesn't even show Breath of Fire damage. But when we were testing Press the Advantage, your auto attacks reduce the cooldown of your brews by 0.5 seconds and block your target's chi, dealing additional nature damage and increasing the damage dealt by 1% for 10 seconds. This would get to 10 stacks on average around every 15 seconds when we were testing it on Brewmaster, which means that you're actually going to get that attack buff and you're going to get the reduced cooldown per stack, from the looks of it, every second and a half, around there. My math isn't super great. It's really quick. So this adds defensive value by reducing the cooldowns of Purifying Brew, Celestial Brew, Fort Brew, Bone Dust Brew, and adding offensive value by giving you a permanent damage dealt buff from anywhere from 1 to 10%. And the Keg Smash does apply the Chi Surge if you talent into it. Now, the reason you took Chi Surge, if you ever did, with Weapons of Order, was to get your Weapons of Order down to 1 minute and 40 seconds. The damage of Chi Surge was... Sorry about that, my window's open. The damage of Chi Surge was kind of irrelevant, but that's also because it only happened every minute and 40 seconds, right? 65k damage is not that much every minute and 40 seconds. But if this occurs every 13 to 15 seconds in combat, that adds up. And it adds up quick. So I am going to be doing more testing with this. So this is something that we're going to be looking into. But this does become a much more interesting option. This could be really fun. This does open up a lot of options and playstyles and can reduce can reduce the button bloat of Brewmaster, which has been a consistent problem with it with Dragonflight, by making this purely a passive and taking Tiger Palm off your bars as well. So with one ability, you can actually take 2 buttons off your bars from Weapons of Order and Press the Advantage. Now, of course, there is a lot of math that's going to go into whether Weapons of Order is better or Press the Advantage is better, and it's still way too early to tell. But after hitting some dummies with this, I'm starting to sell myself on it a little bit more. And I cannot wait to go into combat with like an actual Mythic Plus or whatever and see how this works and see the details breakdowns. Like you can see here, like Breath of Fire isn't even on there. Like I don't know. And yes, I was hitting it. Charged Passions is there. Alright, but we do have a couple of other Brewmaster's changes as well that weren't notified in the PTR or anything like that. So we do have the swap of Counter-Strike and Facepalm. Now, currently on live, Counter-Strike and Facepalm are in the different spots. So to get Counter-Strike, you absolutely had to go through Facepalm. Now you don't. So each time you dodge or an enemy misses you, your next Tiger Palm or Spinning Crane Kick deals 100% increased damage. This makes it so much easier to get, and you can just opt out of it if you don't want it. Now here we had taken Facepalm to see if it kind of worked with the Press the Advantage a little bit more, and we were trying some different stuff to see what we could do to increase the damage of that, but it's not showing on details like I had said. So some difficulties there along the way. Early PTR, things will get updated. We'll have more testing done, when we can. A couple of other things. This got notified to me by a chat member this morning on stream. They actually did sneak this on the PTR, and I didn't see any news update on this, so stuff to talk about. There are now choice nodes for Dampen Harm and Diffuse Magic. So, if you look at Diffuse Magic, you can now also choose Yulon's Grace. Find resilience with the flow of chi in battle, gaining a magic absorb shield for 2% of your maximum health every 2 seconds in combat, stacking up to 10%. That's actually really not bad and makes diffuse magic purely passive. As we kind of look at what's being added, this is definitely being done with the intent of reducing button bloat for the spec itself. Whether it's going to be better or not is still up in the air. We don't know. Well, some real big scientists would know. I'm just kind of looking at things as they are. Diffuse magic is incredibly powerful in the right circumstances, but there are some dungeons where it's not the most incredibly powerful button, but gives you a second option to kind of work with for more consistent mitigation. Dampen Harm has now a choice node with Dance of the Wind. Your dodge chance is increased by 10%. Now, our current tier set is so dodge-centric, it's not even funny. And Elusive Brawler and all of the things that we get with dodge, just being able to increase your dodge by 10%, which sounds like a really low amount, is really not. This adds up quickly with Elusive Brawler and everything else that you go on to, so you're just going to be able to be dodging more attacks. Now, mathematically, is this going to be better for you defensively than Dampen Harm to be able to reduce up to 50% of a damage reduction every 2 minutes? We will see. Case-by-case basis, Dampen Harm could be better. Case-by-case basis, Dance with the Wind could be better. The math could also show that this is actually broken. We're going to have to, bigger minds other than myself are going to figure that one out. But I am going to be testing this to feel the sturdiness of the spec with or without it, right? And see what I kind of like better. But when we look at all of these options now, we're able to pick and choose a lot more buttons that we may want or don't want, you know, and kind of allow the player to build their own and customize their own. Now, this is World of Warcraft, so there's someone that's going to come out that says, hey man, this is the absolute best one and you never stray from it, and everyone's going to shit on you for not playing it. That's kind of how this game works. But it might open up more possibilities for more players getting into the spec, being overwhelmed by how many buttons are in the spec, and kind of a work from there. But I really like the intent on where they're going with this and how they're pushing forward with it. Lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff here. So are you guys excited for Brewmaster in 10.1.5? I know I am with some of these changes. I'm already kind of playing around with different buttons and different builds and seeing kind of what we can do, how high we can get our dodge up, how you know, what's kind of the better way to go around things. I'm really excited for Press the Advantage. I'm really excited to test it. I think that's what I'm at now. I'm really excited to test it and actually see numbers behind it. But I was really surprised with how quickly. Every 10 seconds, one of your kegs, every 13 to 15 seconds, one of your keg smashes essentially deals double damage. That adds up. Weapons of Order is insanely powerful with the right ramp. But newer players or beginner players might not always get that ramp right, where Press the Advantage could be better if you're just picking up the spec. But once you understand it a little bit more, you probably maybe do more damage with Weapons of Order. There's a lot of things to be said or see here. But, like I said, I really like where they're going with the spec. Last thing is, tanks, farm out another ring right now. Find something with stats that you like, that you may need. We'll look at yourself offensively or defensively and what do you want more of, and start farming out a ring so when 10.1.5 hits, you already have that ring done and upgraded and good to go and slotted in. That is my last little tip for you guys, it's tanks. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Have yourself a good one. Are you excited for these changes? Are you not excited for these changes? Let me know your opinions in the comment section down below. Have yourself a good one. Happy tanking. Bye.